Well, good evening. I'm not an academic, so my notes are not so long. Well, it's an honor, it's a privilege to be here tonight. Dr. Sinnette, Rose, congratulations. I'm honored and privileged to be inducted in 2011 with you. To the Board of Directors who elected me to this wonderful Hall of Fame, I say thank you. I really am very humbled by this level of recognition. Yes, I was introduced to the game of golf very early by my father. Every now and then you see this picture of me trying to tee up a golf ball, and my father's in the background, as is Ted Rhodes. I remember when that picture was being taken, and I tried to get the ball on the tee several times. And finally my father reached over and said, "This is how you do it," because I could never get the ball on the tee. That picture just keeps coming up, and I'm wondering why it can't just go away. As you know, my father loved the game of golf. I was introduced when I was about 4 or 5. I remember playing golf with my father at Pipe a Piece, the only place that blacks could play in Chicago. I remember how much he loved the game, and as many of you know, I've said often, I was and got as close to my father as I ever did because of the golf course. When I was growing up, my parents were divorced. My father would come to take my sister and I to lunch or dinner, and I could never understand why everybody wanted an autograph, because it was just my father. But when we were on the golf course, no autographs, no other people, it was just the two of us. And that's where I understood who he was, what he meant, and more importantly, he asked me questions about who I was and where I wanted to go. And he provided me with a level of understanding. Certainly we talked about the fights, the Smiling fights, the con fights, but it was really that intimacy on the golf course that made the difference in terms of our relationship. So I'm very, very honored to be here, particularly 25 years after my father was inducted to the same Hall of Fame. You can imagine when a son is able to walk with his father in this kind of setting, and clearly this is the only Hall of Fame that I could ever be with my father. The other one, there's no chance. This means a great deal to me, personally, because of my father and because of all the individuals, as Rose indicated and Dr. Sinnette indicated, have come before us who have really paved the way to make sure that blacks could play the game of golf and enjoy the game of golf. It does make a difference in one's life. All of us are very different because golf has been in our lives. We're very different people because of the golf and the way we focused, the people we understand, the friendships we've created, the relationships that we have. I remember growing up at the south side of Chicago, and I played on the University of Chicago Lab School's high school team, and I remember once going out to Jackson Park, and my stepfather said, "You know, that wasn't too long ago when we couldn't play Jackson Park." I remember that we couldn't play that golf course, which was a public golf course in the south side of Chicago. So we have come a long way. We made great strides. I'm very proud and privileged to be involved with the First Tee. We are very, very successful because of the extraordinary work of so many people who are involved with our mission. And that mission is to impact the lives of young people by introducing them to the game of golf and its values. We have some 200 chapters around the country and the world. We're in all 50 states, as it said. We have reached 4.7 million young people. We have reached some 4,000 elementary schools in 500 districts, and we're just starting. We really have a focus to reach young people who otherwise did not have access to the game, and consistently about 50% of our young people have been from diverse backgrounds versus 16% in all golf, 35% have been girls versus 25% in golf, and so we're very pleased to be above those statistical numbers. We just launched 2 weeks ago our Phase 4 objectives. And there we are going to now try and reach another 5, 6, 7, 8 million young people over the next 5 years. We're just going to double up on everything that we do. I'm called the chief evangelist of the First Tee, and when my colleagues hear me toss out numbers like that, many of them just want to kick me and bring me back to life. But I said, you know, we have to reach these young people because of the magnitude of the impact that we're having. Here in Tampa, we have one of our most successful chapters. It's really about the young people, isn't it? It's really about the young people because they represent 100% of our future. And when you think about it, if you can introduce the game of golf, the values associated with the game of golf, so that these young people have that grounding, they're going to be very different in their lives. people say, what gives me the greatest joy about what I do? It's the emails from a parent who says, but for the first tee, my child would be here versus there. It's the email from the young person who says, thank you, Mr. Barrow, for what you do, but it's really the chapter that has done it for him. It's the email from the teacher or the person who's part of their go-to team that says this young person, boy or girl, is very different because of the first tee. I'm always reminded of this young man who, his words not mine, he'd be standing on a street corner, still looking up, wondering where he was going to go, because that's where many of his friends are right now. But yet today, he's a second or third year student at the University of Illinois studying mechanical engineering. His goal is to change the functions of the internal combustion engine. It's either going to use less fuel, no fuel, or a very different fuel. And there's the young man who doesn't want to be the Associate Justice, but the Chief Justice of the United States, who was part of the first tee in Oklahoma. And the young lady who's now an associate producer for ABC Sports and ABC News, and she's sending a lot of the broadcasts all across the world on the weekends and all the news that ABC broadcasts, and she started at the first tee Sacramento. So I'm very honored and privileged to be recognized, but I really accept this on behalf of all the people who believe that the most important investment we can make in our society is in young people. Because why? Because they represent 100% of our future. When you think about what golf can do, and this is why golf has to be open, it has to be equal, it has to be available because of what it can do, because of the character education that is so grounded in the game of golf and so inherent in the game of golf. That is what is so essential about why we want to work so hard to not just be accepting 50% of our young people being from diverse backgrounds, but over the next 5 years grow that to 55 to 56%. And why we want to grow our girls from 35% to 45%, because we want them to have those opportunities. Consciously, we will work to do that. This is an honor and a privilege because it's so important work to make sure that the young people have had the opportunities that this game can give them. Because we know if we do provide those opportunities for them, they will be in a different direction, they will be better served, they will understand the opportunities before them, and they will have the skill set to accomplish those objectives. So I am called the Chief Evangelist of the First Tee. I can talk for 20 more minutes, but I can't because I only get 7. But I do want to say that this is extraordinary recognition for me. I was on a radio show today and they said, well, what does it mean? And I said, I don't think it has really hit me yet. And I have to say, I don't think it has. Because it's extraordinary to be recognized by your peers or individuals who recognize the work that you're fortunate enough to do in life. Many of my colleagues are here tonight, and colleagues all across the country have recognized this night for me. But I just want to say thank you to them, and thank you to all of you and to the board for recognizing the great work of the First Tee, for doing so in a year when I can be aligned with my father, which is always a special. And I just want to say this is a very humbling, gracious, and wonderful experience for me. And thank you very much for recognizing the little work that I've done, but the extraordinary work that so many others have done. Thank you so much.